This day in sports history. Well, hey there, and welcome back to another edition of This Day in Sports History, a member of the Sports History Network. More podcasts, more info can be found at sportshistorynetwork.com. It's February 1st, and on this day in 2004, it was Super Bowl XXXVIII, a great game that unfortunately became known more for a wardrobe malfunction than what actually happened on the field. So Super Bowl XXXVIII was the Carolina Panthers and the New England Patriots, a battle of two of the best defenses in the NFL. The Patriots had been the stingiest in the league, while the Panthers, with their fantastic, dominant defensive front, had the fourth best defense in the NFC. And the game followed that defensive-minded script for the first 27 minutes of this one. The Patriots had a couple of opportunities, but kicker Adam Vinatieri missed one field goal, and he had another one blocked. Scoreless after one and scoreless until 3:05 to play in the first half, the floodgates finally released a torrent. New England forced a fumble and then turned that into a Tom Brady to Deion Branch touchdown pass. The Panthers went to their 2-minute offense and put together an 8-play, 95-yard drive that resulted in a Jake Delhomme to Steve Smith 39-yard touchdown pass to tie it up. The drive took a minute 56 seconds off the clock. Brady captained a 6-play, 78-yard drive in 49 seconds and threw another touchdown pass, this one to David Gibbons. But after a poor squib kick, the Panthers had the ball near midfield with enough time to put John Casey in field goal range, and he booted a 50-yarder as time expired to close out the half. So after a scoreless 26 minutes and 55 seconds, the teams combined for 24 points in the final 3:05. The third quarter was another scoreless affair, but then the pressure cooker blew the lid off in the fourth quarter. The Patriots scored right off the top of the final frame to take the largest lead in the game at 21-10. But the Panthers answered again. First, a simple handoff turned into 6.
On 2nd and 10, Deshaun Foster. Foster breaks through. 30, still on his feet. 20, 10, 5, touchdown.
The Panthers went for 2, but did not get it, so they trailed by 5. The Patriots marched down the field and they were knocking on the door of the end zone, but Panther pressure led to a Brady mistake and Carolina's Reggie Howard picked off the pass in the end zone. Now, it didn't look like Carolina was going to take advantage of that takeaway, though. The Patriots applied some pressure of their own, and Delhomme had to throw a couple of passes away. Well, facing a 3rd and 10 from their own 15, this happened.
3rd and 10 for the Panthers. Play fake, Delhomme pulls it down, looking, gonna go deep, has his man wide open, it's Muhammad to the 15, 10-5, touchdown!
Muhsin Muhammad's 85-yarder is still the longest touchdown reception in Super Bowl history. The Panthers went for a 2-point conversion again, and they failed again. So instead of it being 24-21 if they had just simply kicked the PATs, well, after the 2 missed 2-point conversions, it's only 22-21. The Patriots marched back down the field, and the guy who will be leading New England next Sunday in Super Bowl LX was on the receiving end of a Brady touchdown pass.
Brady looking to throw it. Touchdown! Mike Vrabel.
So Vrabel's TD made it 27-22. Now, if Carolina had kicked those PATs, the score would have been 27-24, and there would have been no point for the Patriots to go for 2. But up 5, now it made sense, and the Patriots converted their 2-point conversion to make it a 7-point game again. Those 2 points would come back to haunt the Panthers. But there was still some hope. The 2003 Panthers were the cardiac cats. Delhomme had led 8 fourth-quarter or overtime drives to either tie the game or win it. So there was simply no panic. With just over a minute to play, Delhomme found his man once again. He stared down a blitz, and then he hit Ricky Prohl alone in the end zone. The PAT tied it at 29. Oh, but the heartache that was to follow. Kicker John Casey made a huge mistake and kicked the ensuing kickoff out of bounds, which set up Brady and the Patriots at the 40-yard line to start their final drive with 1:08 to play. It took 5 plays and 1 minute to put Adam Vinatieri in field goal range. He came on to kick the 41-yarder, and he made it. 32-29 Patriots. The 37 points that the two teams combined to score in the fourth quarter is still a Super Bowl record. On this day in 2009, it was another great finish in the Super Bowl. This was Super Bowl XLIII between Pittsburgh and Arizona, and this one had as many exciting plays as 38 did, like this one. With 18 seconds left in the first half and the Cardinals with a 1st and goal, James Harrison came up with this play, and then he needed some oxygen.
18 seconds.
They can pick down here.
From the gun, Steelers show blitz. Here they come. He gets it away, and it's picked off at the goal line. There's a flag thrown on the run back. James Harrison to run it back, and Harrison is past midfield. Harrison going down the sideline. Harrison still on his feet. Harrison is going to go all the way and waiting for the official to get there. Touchdown is signaled. A flag is down on the run back at the 9-yard line.
The penalty was on the Cardinals, and Harrison's 100-yard interception return for a touchdown set a new Super Bowl record. Arizona fought back, though, after a holding call in the end zone gave the Cardinals 2 points and pulled them within 4. They got the ball back off the free kick, and they scored again.
2nd and 10. Warner has time. Fitzgerald into Steeler territory. 30, 20, 10. Arizona has the lead.
But just like the Panthers, the Cardinals were about to get their hearts ripped out. Down 3 with 35 seconds left, the Steelers came up with the huge play.
Left, Washington outside left. Roethlisberger has time, throws to the back of the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown by Holmes.
There simply is not a better catch in a Super Bowl than that one. Maybe if you want to include the David Tyree catch against his helmet in the same conversation, I'll let you do that. But with 3 Cardinals surrounding him, Santonio Holmes' catch for the game winner is simply as good as it gets. Big Ben put it in the only spot that would not get picked, and then Holmes climbed the ladder to catch it, and then he double toe tapped for the score. That's incredible and simply the best. The Steelers won 27-23 for their 6th Super Bowl in franchise history. On this day in 1969, Richard Petty won a NASCAR race. That is not such big news, considering that he won 200 of them. But what made this one a little bit different than the others is he did it driving a Ford. Now, if you're a NASCAR fan, then you know that Petty was a Plymouth man for the majority of his career. And NASCAR, back in these days, the late 60s and 70s, was very different than today. And today, and for the last 25 or 30 years or so, the cars all look the same and are manufactured in multi-million-dollar race shops. Well, back in the late 60s, the cars that they raced had some modifications, but they looked a lot more like the cars sitting on showroom floors at dealerships across the country. Now, Richard was not happy with Plymouth in '68, and that carried over to the start of the '69 season when they rolled out the same boxy design as the past few years. Ford and Dodge were bringing more aerodynamic cars to the track, and Petty felt like he was going to be left in the dust. So the King simply said, "Either build me a winged car or I'm walking across the street." And they said, "Go ahead." And so he did. On this day, the NASCAR boys were in Riverside racing the road course, and Petty pulled up to the start line in a Ford for the first time in his career, and he smoked the field. He went on to win another 8 races that season in a Ford. The Chrysler boys came crawling back to the Petty shop in 1970, and the King switched back to a new Plymouth with a wing on the back. 139 of his 200 career wins were behind the wheel of a Plymouth. On this day in 1984, New York Knick Bernard King scored 50 points for the second night in a row. The Knicks were on a Texas swing at this point in the season. On January 31st, King had dropped 50 on San Antonio in a 117-113 Knicks win. On this night, they were in North Texas taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Through the first 47.5 minutes, Bernard had managed to put up 48 on the scoreboard. While the Knicks had the ball with a 7-point lead as the clock wound down, Rory Sparrow had the ball but seemed to be oblivious to King's situation. Here's Marv Albert with the call that night.
They want the Knick bench screaming, get the ball to King. They'd like to see him score 50. 13 on the shot clock. Give it to King, the screaming.
They said, give it to B.
All right, here it is. Bernard looking for 50, and he's got it. Back-to-back 50-point games for Bernard King. 5 seconds. Blackman, 3 seconds. 105.98. And that will do it as the clock runs down, and Bernard King being mobbed on the Knick bench. And we have seen consecutive remarkable efforts by Bernard King.
Now, this wasn't the first time or the last time that scoring 50 in back-to-back games ever happened. Elgin Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain, and Rick Barry had done it prior. 8 other guys have done it since. But Bernard just did it with a certain style and efficiency that was beautiful to watch. Over this 24-hour, 2-game stretch, he hit 69% of his shots. On this day in 1967, the American Basketball Association was formed, a league that would have a definitive impact on the NBA in its 9-year-long run. The ABA can actually trace its origins to football. Dennis Murphy is considered the godfather of the ABA, and he had put a team of investors together in an attempt to bring a football team to Southern California to join the AFL. Now, feeling a merger was on the way between the AFL and the NFL, Murphy wanted to take advantage and get a team ready to be absorbed. But the merger happened faster than Murphy anticipated, squashing his plans before they could come to fruition. So there he was. He had the money. He had the people. He just didn't want to waste it, so he needed to do something. He surveyed the sports landscape, seeing that there was only one basketball league and one hockey league. Well, he didn't know anything about hockey, so Murphy decided to start a basketball league to compete with the 12-team NBA. For $5,000, one could buy a franchise in this new league. One of the first things that he needed to do was to hire a commissioner. Now, Murphy sought out the original big man of the NBA, George Mikan, to be the commish of the new league. It wasn't until about 10 minutes before the official announcement of the league on this day that Mikan actually accepted the job. And it was Mikan who shaped the league into what it became. One league official said that without Mikan, there would have been no ABA. Mikan pushed hard for the signature red, white, and blue ball, saying that the brown ball of the NBA was tough to see. The multicolored ball may have been gimmicky, but it gave the league its identity. The ABA was an outlaw league whose goal was to push the staid atmosphere of the NBA aside and create something unique and fun to watch. Players like Dr. J and Artis Gilmore, David Thompson, Mel Daniels, Connie Hawkins, and the Iceman George Gervin brought a brand of basketball that few had ever seen. And with the addition of the three-point shot, the dunk contest as part of the ABA All-Star Game a little bit later, and a more wide-open style on the court, it became a spectacle. And time now for today's That's Got Nothing to Do with Sports fun fact. Have you ever had the feeling of being watched? I would suspect that most of us have had that feeling at one point or another. Well, how about the feeling of being watched by ducks?
What did you say?
So this is a real thing. It's called anatidaephobia, and it is the fear of being watched by ducks.
Say what?
And it's believed that close to 200,000 people worldwide suffer from it. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.